Welcome back to Candi's Classic Game Shrine, everyone. Today on Tinker Time DIY, I'm going to be showing you guys how to install the IPS screen replacement for your WonderSwan Color. So let me go ahead and show you guys what you need for this project. You're going to need a WonderSwan Color. You're going to need some solder, a soldering iron. You're going to need your IPS screen kit. I got mine from Handheld Legend. The kit comes with the screen, the new board with touch capacitive pads for the brightness and color palette swaps. It comes with the 2 wires needed for the project, some double-sided sticky tape, some insulating film, and a flex ribbon cable. So without further ado, before I forget, we also need a torque screwdriver. This is a size 7 for those that are wondering. So let's get started. First, you're going to want to start off by removing the battery caddy by pressing the release and sliding. Set that aside for now, and then you're going to remove the 6 screws on the back of the WonderSwan. Now that you've unscrewed the shell, it is time to carefully lift the back off of the system and set that aside. Once you're done setting that aside, we're going to be working with this ribbon cable. We need to unlock it and remove, we need to unlock it so we can take this out and set this aside. So what you're going to want to do, lift up the little gates here. And it should make removing the flex cable much easier. Now that this is done, you can lift this. Be careful though. You can set this aside for now. What you're going to want to do is remove these 4 pads here, and if your system is dirty, you can clean it while it's open. So let's remove these 4 pads here. And there we are, we've removed them. At this point, you can take a cotton swab with some rubbing alcohol and clean these pads up a bit so that the adhesive is no longer there. Okay, now that we've prepared this side and made it all nice and shiny and clean, let's flip it over and let's begin soldering our first point. Remember those thin wires that came with your kit? Well, it's time to use them. We're going to take one of these, and we are going to be soldering it to this point right here on the battery connector. Let me use a Q-tip and point to the part, because my finger is a sausage finger, right there. And then on the other side, we're going to take the other wire and we are going to solder it right here. So let's begin. Okay, now that you have soldered these wires on, you are going to take this wire and fold it over the back like so. And then you are going to take this wire and thread it through the hole right here. There you go. And when you're finished, it should look something like this. For now, we're finished with this, so let's set this aside and let's get our next board to work on. This is the one from the kit, so let's prepare it by adding some solder to the battery point here and the ground point here. This is where we're going to be attaching those two wires from there. Okay, so now you're going to want to take this wire here and connect it to your battery point here, and this wire and connect it to your ground wire here. Now that that's finished, we are going to take one of our insulating films and we are going to place it over this area here using the 4 squares that say damp as our outline. Now it's time to go to this little bad boy over here, and we are going to take our little flex ribbon cable here, blue side facing up. We are going to then insert it into here. Make sure that's in there securely. Seems to be. Now we can take this and set it to the side. Now it's time to remove the old LCD. Okay. Now in order to remove this, you can flex the shell and the LCD should come right out. Otherwise, you can use a spudger. However, I'm actually still going to use one to get the rest of the way under. And there she is. Let's put this away somewhere safe. I'm sure I'll be able to recycle this to somebody who needs one. And you should give this a nice clean while you have it open and exposed, because we're going to be placing our new screen in here. Next up, you're going to want to take your new IPS screen and you're going to want to take your other insulating film and place it right here on the back. We are in the home stretch, people. Now we're going to be taking our screen and the flex ribbon cable that's here, and we are going to be attaching it into this little slot here, like so. There we go. Now that's seated much better. Now at this point, you're going to want to remove your cover and get this back and ready for action. Now that we've installed everything, it's time to replace the buttons. Let's go ahead and do that. Now that the buttons are taken care of, we are going to then take the double-sided sticky tape on the back of these little pads, and we are going to place them right here on the top of the shell. Okay, now that we've put these together, we're going to take this ribbon cable and we are going to place it in here. Make sure that this is open and this is facing up. Lock both sides down. Make sure it's nice and secure. And now we need to fold this little ribbon cable so that our system will close. Gently configure it in a way that it'll work. And then you can just reassemble it. When you're done configuring your wire, it should look something like this. Making sure that you tuck any excess wire right here between the IPS screen and the motherboard. Once you're satisfied with how you have your stuff configured, it's time to reassemble it. And there you have it, all done. Alrighty, now it's time to test this out and see what it's like. This is the game Gunpei, and right over here are the capacitive touch buttons that will swap the palette colors and the brightness. Kind of like this palette. But yeah, everyone, that is it. A pretty simple install. I'd say pretty much beginners could even do this. And with that said, let me know what you guys thought of the video in the comments below. And until next time, guys, take care.